When we think about seduction, we tend to think about the sexual form of seduction because that type of seduction is used often by mainstream media and advertisement. We know about that, but seduction isn't just sexual. There's also mental seduction, emotional seduction. In this video, I want to talk about a type of seduction in which you are seduced into an agreement that's not going to benefit you in the long run. I'm not talking about those salesmen that come with smooth talks to talk into buying a product. I'm not talking about that. Neither am I talking about those smooth talkers. They are talkers and stalkers that try to seduce young girls into prostitution. I'm not talking about that. I'm not even talking about the pickup lines that they promote in some circles. Please don't use those, but okay. The type of seduction I'm going to talk about, I need to call it a certain way so that you will remember it. We're going to call it inverted seduction. What happens when you invert something? It becomes the opposite. If I have a box and it's blue on the left and red on the right, and I invert it, now it's red on the left and blue on the right. That's inversion. Turning something inside out is also a form of inversion. So inverted seduction is a type of seduction in which you are conditioned into an agreement that you never would have accepted. Okay, let me give an example. Let's say you are talking to your landlord because you live in a shared flat. So you share the bathroom, kitchen, you know, get what I'm saying. And the landlord suddenly tells you, I'm not going to babysit adult people. In a very annoying tone. I mean, he's annoyed, so in a very irritated tone, he says, I'm not going to babysit adult people. Okay, so he said that while you're talking to him. Why did he say that? The moment he said that, you felt a bit unease. That is because he suggested something there that doesn't add up with the context. And then the landlord says, well, there were times the renters called me during the day when I was with my wife, with my kids. So he now justifies what he said because he felt annoyed. But why is he saying that to you? Or why is he saying that to the group? Nobody asked him to babysit on them. He's a landlord. If there's something that doesn't end up with the complex, he should come. Or else he shouldn't be a landlord. Or if he is so occupied and he wants to spend more time with his family, he should hire a manager. He shouldn't come there and take out his frustration on you guys while you guys are his source of income. Because you are his customers. Think about this. You're in a restaurant and you have the owner of the restaurant being negative towards the customers. Anyone would look at this and think, what? Those are your customers. Because of them you have income and now you're being negative towards them because you're so occupied with the administration of your restaurant. First of all, it's your restaurant. You started it. So if you're occupied with the work because you get so many customers, guess what? You should be happy you get a lot of customers. And if you can't handle it, hire a manager. But in a case of a restaurant owner knows very well that he can't be negative towards customers or else he would go out of business. But let's say you have a landlord who tells you that I'm not going to babysit grown people. First of all, there are two accusations. One, you're grown people, so there are certain things I expect of you. Secondly, he calls it babysitting, so he's looking down on you. So there are two accusations hidden in one statement. And he tries to justify it with how he was annoyed, but you can't justify it. What happened here? This landlord suggested onto you that you are to blame for his mismanagement of his affairs. He said it in such a way to shock you, and after shocking you, he justifies his action by saying he was upset. Even if, for example, you had renters that called him during the day while he was with his family, and he was upset because of it, even if it was objectively something annoying, he should not come with accusation to you guys to keep your guys in check. He shouldn't. That's not done. But he did. So what happened here? He seduced you into becoming the culprit of his unease that he doesn't want to solve. He doesn't want to look for solutions for his unease, so now he wants you to take the blame for it. So he's seducing you in an agreement in which you become the culprit and he doesn't have to face himself. It's inverted seduction. And this type of seduction often happens. Now look, if there is a situation in which you have a part and someone remembers you subtly that you have your parts too, that's not blame shifting, that's not accusation, it's just being factual. You have your role in this also. But even if you have a role in a situation, someone should not suggest that only you are the one to blame if it's obvious that everyone around also has their part in it. When something's going on, whether it's an argument or whether you were attacked or whatever happened, and multiple people, the whole community has its responsibility, but people only blame you, that's inverted seduction. They want you to become the culprit so that they don't have to face themselves. Inverted seduction can also be the following. You are, okay, I don't want to use a dating scenario, but okay, let's say you're with some colleagues. You're all females. You're with some colleagues. And then one of those colleagues tells you, when you're in a conversation, well, I used to have friends that took advantage of me. They were very nasty, but I'm glad I've met you guys. You guys are awesome. Now, when someone says something like this, it can be genuine that someone really is happy with you in their lives, okay? It doesn't have to be some trick to get something out of you. No, someone can really observe their life and realize, okay, I'm with the right people now and they can express it. There's nothing wrong with that. But look at the context when and how they're saying it. If they're saying it in a flattery tone, for example, they put a sad tone that they used to had people taking advantage of them, so they put themselves at the center as the victim, and then immediately say, but you guys are awesome, you guys won't do that. You look at the words. If she says, you girls are awesome, yes, it was a female example, so you girls are awesome, you girls wouldn't do that, you're always on time, you're always honest towards me. The moment she soon after expressing pain begins to flatter you, it's not a compliment. It's her conditioning you to always put up with her. That's a trick narcissistic people often use. Especially narcissistic women tend to use this trick, but men use it also. They play the victim. They exaggerate a situation in which it appears if they are the ones with bad luck, and instantly they turn around and flatter you, and they express their expectations. Which expectation you may ask? Expectation that you will always listen to them, that you will always believe them, that you will always take their side, that you're there for them. Those are good expectations, but she mentions them in an inverted way. Why? Because she's conditioning you not to question her next time she's playing the victim. That's inverted seduction. So now you girls there think, you guys think, she's very happy with us, so you feel flattered. And because you are a human being, you have a need for significance, you feel significant. She made you feel significant, and because of that, you're happy to have her around. Okay, that's natural that you're happy to have someone around that makes you feel significant. But in this case, she made you feel significant to brainwash you into never questioning her behavior. That's why she mentioned that she was a victim, but now she's in good hands. Or better said, you guys will never do me dirty. So what happens when she now does dirt to you? Now that you want to confront her, this conditioning comes up. Hold on a minute. I'm not like the other people that harmed her. I'm not like the other people that did her dirty. You have this image of her as a victim, and now that she does something that the victim normally doesn't do, that means doing you dirty, now you have this significant validation that you receive from her that you're not like all the others. So because you don't want to be like all the others that did her wrong, you want to be patient with her, you want to talk things through, and that's how she takes advantage of you. So inverted seduction is when someone, no, I don't want to say someone because healthy people don't do this. Even desperate people rarely do this. It's a narcissistic types. They're out for exploitation that do this. Inverted seduction is when someone triggers you through either blame or flattery into accepting a role you were never supposed to have. Now, let me give another example. Let's say you have a leader like a president. And the leader talks about the economy, how the economy was going south, or that's an expression of saying the economy was going bad, things were getting worse. So the leader mentions things getting worse, and then the leader mentioned immediately, but we, the American people, or if it's in China, they would say in Chinese, we, the Chinese people, or they now suddenly flatter the population. That the population is a hard-working population that doesn't make any excuses, but get things done. Now you may say, whoa, this is a good leader, he motivates the people. And the people may feel motivated indeed by what he said. But look at the context. He first talks about how bad things are, and then he says, but we, that means he's talking to you because he, as a president, he's not a king, he's not a sovereign, so he needs to include himself, but it's really addressing you. It's actually saying you guys will not take any excuses, you will work hard, and you'll get things done. So actually, he's putting the sole responsibility of fixing the situation with the citizens. And he's telling citizens, don't come with any excuses. So what happens if during his term as president or as prime minister, nothing changes for the better? People are going to ask him, what did you do on our behalf? But then, everyone will remember the speech he made, how he flattered the people, and that we shouldn't take any excuses, so people will be less likely to criticize him because they think, hold on a minute, we are hardworking people. He saw we are hardworking people. So if we are hardworking people and we don't make any excuses, then it's our fault that things aren't better now. So what happens now, the population is now gaslighted into blaming themselves, even though that president or that prime minister messed up the whole country without people being aware of it. And now that it becomes obvious that he messed up everything, people won't hold him accountable. But because at the beginning of his term, he conditions the masses into blaming themselves, now he gets away with what he did, namely neglecting his duties as a leader. Look, when someone mentions something sad and suddenly they shift and mention something positive, that's not manipulation. That can happen. Okay? But when someone mentions something negative and they suddenly turn around in a flattery way, just to make you feel significant, they're conditioning you. Another thing, when someone is upset and they shock you with a statement, and then they keep repeating that statement in other words to justify what they said, that's also conditioning you. I don't care how upset they are. I don't care if they are justified in being upset. When someone shocks you with a statement, that's the purpose, to shock you. Because when you're in a shock, you can't think straight. And when they shock you and they now come with their terms, with their conditions, you're now being conditioned by them. Think about what Satan did to Eve in the Garden of Eden. He shocked her by coming as a talking serpent, and the talking serpent also questioned God. So now Eve was shocked twice. And after Eve was shocked twice, he now conditioned her into self-reliance, which is a scam. And people out there who persist in darkness, whose father figure is Satan, they follow their father figure, the devil. So they do as Satan did. They lie. Because inverted seduction is actually you lying, but you want the other to approve of you lying to them. Another way would be, for example, you send someone a message and they just don't respond to it. They read it but don't respond to it. So later you think, okay, what's going on? You ask for a question, but I tell you, but I don't want to talk to you, remember? They just ignored you. They haven't explained anything. If they were upset with you or upset because something you said or did, they should have opened their mouth and settled things with you. No, they just ignore you, pretend you're not there. And when you finally ask them for an account and they can't get away from it, now they say, but I don't want to talk to you, remember? What's going on? First, before they began to ignore you, they were on good terms with you. They were very kind and all of that to you. Suddenly they turned on you. Why were they so kind to you? To blind you from seeing their narcissistic defects. But when the narcissistic defects became visible, because you were used to them already, because you became acclimatized to them, now they turn it on you. Now they're ignoring you. And now you're wondering what's going on. They've shocked you. And now that you want explanation for what they did, they're going to gaslight you as if they discussed something with you that they didn't discuss. That's also inverted seduction. You are, let me say, you are tricked into an agreement that you never agree with. But you're not aware you're being tricked. Let me give another example. Someone has their issues. They don't want to face them, but suddenly they can't stand you. When you're around, they look angry, or they give short answers to you just to make you know that they can't stand you. Or they say to your face they don't like you. What's going on? They have their issues that they don't want to face. And whatever you did triggered their issue. But it's not your issue. Should you be considerate towards them? Yes, but they should also be considerate to you. So if they have an issue that's triggered, they should look within and look for help. By them blaming you for their issue in a very direct way, why are they doing it in a direct way? Because if they do it in a direct way, they can later say, but I'm honest. No, they're not. If they were honest, they would look within, look for solutions so that they could be at peace with themselves and with others. They're not honest. They just don't want to face anything and expect others to put up with their narcissistic attitude. They are the type of people that only want to flee. They want to flee and be left alone. So they never want to be held accountable. They never want to comply with solutions nor with justice. So when they openly express their negative feelings towards you, they are gaslighting you. It's inverted seduction. And they will always say later, I'm honest, I'm direct, I don't talk behind people's back. Okay, you're not talking behind people's back, but that does it mean now that just because you talk to people's face, that what you said is correct, that people have to accept it? No. If someone walks outside with a knife and they stab people, and police arrest them, and they have to appear before the judge, is the judge going to give them a lighter sentence because they said, well, Your Honor, at least I stabbed people in their face. I didn't do it behind their backs. Do you seriously think the judge is going to say, oh, this guy, he shouldn't go to jail, or he should receive less sentence because he's an example of doing things directly? No! The judge would tell them, you don't stab people behind their back, but you're still stabbing people. We don't want that in this community. You shouldn't stab. You're going to jail. But in daily life, a lot of folks out there are narcissistic, they want you to be the culprit so that they are off the hook completely. Now, if there was a conflict and you have your role and they point out your role, there's nothing wrong with that. But the moment they don't want to take any accountability for their own part, but they only mention your part, they are seducing you in an inverted way. That is what they're doing. So recognize inverted seduction. Most people don't. And that's the danger of it. Let's go back to the first example of that landlord that accused you of of bothering him, even though that's not the case. If you let this pass, you don't take any spiritual measures against what he just decreed, because he actually accursed you by doing that. Next time, when he wants to kick you guys out of the house for no good reason, you have less food to stand on. Why? Because he accused you guys of bothering him, of acting like little children. He blamed you already, and because he's now confident in blaming you, and you did not take any constructive actions to dissolve the situation, he now can use that accusation against you when he wants to kick you out. So it can be winter, cold outside, and he kicks you out, he doesn't care. Why? Because he got away with seducing you in an inverted way. He got away with accursing you. He got away with putting a spell on you. And because a spell worked on you, your perception is now blurred. So the next time the landlord comes with an unreasonable attitude, you tend to take it. Because you don't notice it's unreasonable. Until the day comes, he tells you need to get out tomorrow. And it's cold outside, you have nowhere else to go. And if he has courage enough, if he dares, he would even tell you you're not getting your deposit back, which he should give to you. You'll see how it goes. When you don't counter inverted seduction, you fall under a spell. And once this spell has an effect on you, you won't be able to think nor perceive things clearly anymore. Does it mean at any time someone seduces you in an inverted way that you automatically have to stand up and fight them? No. That is a trap. What you do when someone seduces you in an inverted way is you recognize what happened, you hear them out, and then you counter what they said. For example, if the landlord begins to accuse you of being like little children, he wants to be left alone, then you're asking about, sir, you're the landlord, right? So if something's going on there, we should talk to you, shouldn't we? And if you're the landlord and you're upset because we call you during the day, then it's not us. So you counter what he said. If it's a woman at work, for example, that does this to condition you to put up with her future BS, you just say to her, well, don't put us on a pedestal. We make mistakes also. So just break down in a smooth way the spells just put on you. Or if it's someone who openly expresses that they can't stand you, then you can say something like, okay, so what do you expect me to do now? What do you expect me to do? Because you can't stand me. It's you having it, right? So what should I do with it? Or if they are aggressive, they're about to explode physically, just walk away from them. Just don't return the negative. Just don't repay evil with evil. They're doing evil, don't repay it back. Don't ignore it either. Don't embrace it either. Just counter it. Too many of you who are listening to this, you had spells enforced on you through inverted seduction, and because you were not aware of what was going on, those spells blinded you from seeing the danger you were in, and it cost you later on. Another thing you should never do when someone seduces you in an inverted way is to accuse them of forcing their presence on you. Never say, I never asked you to do that, or never do something like that. Don't defend yourself against them, because this is a trap. Counter what they did. You can say something like, thank you for your effort, but next time you don't have to do that. it's my own problem, I can fix it. So don't defend yourself by becoming upset with them and all of that. No, because then you are in the negative. And again, I'm going to repeat this before I close. Just because someone expresses frustration, maybe in an accusatory way, doesn't mean they're trying to spell you, even though often it is the case. Just because someone mentions something sad and suddenly turn around and they show appreciation you're there, doesn't mean they're conditioning you. It's the tone and the context that matters. So look at the tone and the context. Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.